Welcome to our second issue of our podcast. Today we're going to discuss a bit about transportation issues within Eurasia and connections between East and West. So, Charles, what are the main topics you want to discuss today? Shortly about each.
What you just said, Central Asia has now become in the focus of connections between China, Russia, Europe. It's this triangle at the center of which Central Asia finds itself. So how to organize the connections, what they call connectivity, between the three big players surrounding Central Asia. On which factors this will depend? First of all, the price. Second, the availability of the goods to be sent from one place to the other. Third, unfortunately, political interference. To be brief, I think cargo companies and supply companies could work a lot better and a lot cheaper without political interference. Unfortunately, it is there. And what I'd like to discuss, what are the consequences and what is the damage that politicians, especially in the West, inflict on the transport business, impacting the supply business in this part of the world.
So, let's say political interference is inevitable. So, what cargo companies can do?
Well, let's first imagine a situation in which it wouldn't be inevitable. What are the most obvious routes from China to Europe? The most obvious route is across the Amur River, from there straight by rail or by road to the border with Belarus, and from there across Poland into the rest of Europe. There are only two borders between China and Russia across the Amur River, and there's only one border between the former Soviet Union and Poland. Friends of mine some time ago traveled by car from Europe to Kyrgyzstan. They traveled by car, they crossed the border between Belarus and Russia, and they told me, you can just drive on, there's no control, there's no stop, there's nothing at all, you can just move on as soon as your documents, as long as your documents are in order, before police control on the way, you have absolutely no problem. Compare that to the border we both have crossed many times between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. A huge traffic jam, complete chaos. There's no such thing between Russia and Belarus. So the most obvious route is there. As we discussed before, transport is like and unlike any other business, a matter of principle where time is money. Every hour your truck or your train or your ship is being delayed is costing you money. We'll come to that later. So the most economical connection is through Russia. By ship, now there's an alternative through the Arctic Road.
North Sea Road.
North Sea, but the North Sea is between Britain and Holland. The Northern Ocean Road, known as the Northern Ice Sea, is becoming more economical. The ice is melting, which has two advantages. I remember an author, James Lovelock. He said that the Earth is a living organism. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's relaxed, sometimes it's constrained. So, we are living in a time when Mother Earth is relaxing. It means that the ice is melting. It also means that the taigas and tundras of Russia and northern Kazakhstan and northern Mongolia are becoming a fertile land. It could become the biggest agricultural producer in the world, able to feed on grain, and cattle produce 3/4 of the world, even if the rest of the world has nothing to go on. So these are huge changes. They're gradual, but they're happening. And we are in the times that it starts happening. So back to transport. A truck can contain one container or two small ones. A train can contain several dozens, 2 or 3 dozens of containers. A ship can contain 200 to 300 containers. These are the indicators of price settings, apart from the distance and apart from the political issues I'll come to later. Now, for ships, the Arctic route is the most obvious. There are no borders, there's no traffic control. You can smoothly sail from Shanghai to Britain or Rotterdam or Bremen or Le Havre. You get your documents in order when you get out, and you have to verify it when you get in. It's all. By train there's only one control between Belarus and Poland. So these are the cheapest routes which give the least headaches, because headaches in the transport business are not only headaches, they are costly headaches. Every headache costs money. Right. This leads you to your next question. What were?
The next question is actually for the Central Asia, which is mostly landlocked. Sea routes are closed, and the road, and because of politicians, roads to Russia is closed. So what the remaining options are middle corridor, and what else? That's it.
Is it really closed? I mean,
Politically, yes.
Politically, yes. But if you want to transport your cargo from China to Russia, you don't need Central Asia. You can do it directly. And there are no embargoes on that. Second, if you have an intermediate cargo delivery, both to Kazakhstan and Russia, you hire one transport company to transport your cargo to Almaty. You transload it into the truck or train of another company which takes it to Russia. It's perfectly legal under embargo policy, and no one can prevent it. There is no such thing as an end destination declaration which you have to fill in on the point of departure for every cargo. You can change your destiny at any point on the way.
No, that's not true though.
If you change the recipient and you change the cargo company which is transporting it, nobody can know because it cannot be in the document.
Okay, if you are making it several steps,
Yeah.
it is, but you are increasing the cost every time you change the
You need to fill up a few more forms, that's all.
It's not only forms, it's also unloading and reloading the cargo from one company to another.
That costs a few hours.
That costs a few hours and several $1,000s.
No, but it's a trifle in comparison to a direct link.
Let's come back to this middle corridor. Chinese investments in Kazakhstan in middle corridor and European investments in the middle corridor, okay?
Right. Now, if you want to send Kazakh products to Europe,
Not Kazakh, that's Chinese.
Chinese, but imported into Kazakhstan, and you want to transfer them to Europe, which route would you choose?
If you are saying like that, if you are importing from China to Kazakhstan,
Yeah?
or from Kazakhstan you go to
Re-export
Yeah.
to Europe. Which route would you choose?
most likely through the Caspian to Azerbaijan, Armenia, and then
What would be the bill?
the bill I don't know, but it will be faster than through Russia, because through Russia it goes through several checks, all the trucks stop, they always check the country of origin and the country of destination.
Which station? You go from, say, Almaty to Aktau. If it's by train, you have to go to Oral, because there is no direct rail Almaty-Aktau. It would cross Uzbek territory. There's no railway, and it would mean 2 extra border crossings. So it takes extra time to get to Aktau. There you have to load it on a ferry boat. Other controls, other cost, and extra time. It will arrive to Baku. Another way is to go to Atiral. There's a freight ferry from Atiral to Baku. There will be checks, there will be delays in Baku as well. From there, you have to go to Georgia. There's only one border point between Azerbaijan and Georgia. I've crossed it many times in the past. It's a complete mess. Alright. The border between Georgia and Azerbaijan, there's only one point, which is 5 to view. And the road between Baku and Tbilisi is in a very bad state. From Tbilisi, either to Poti or to Batumi, The road goes over a mountain and it's also difficult. The physical conditions are hard. Then you have to go into Turkey. There are two posts between Georgia and Turkey. One is from Guria into the central east of Turkey. The other one is across the Black Sea coast from Batumi to Hoppa. I know that border post. It's crowded. On the Turkish side, everything goes smoothly. On the Georgian side, if you want it checked for the papers you need, it will cost you a day or more. Now, generally speaking, I can quote you some figures. 1 TEU, which means 40-foot equivalent unit, which is the unit used for the load of a container, is $2,500. They have calculated that through the train route, Russia from the Amur River directly into Europe, it's 2,000. Across the Arctic Sea, it's also 2,000. They have calculated that through the middle corridor, it's 3,000 without taking the delays at the border posts into account. It will be 5,000 taking the multiple delays on road posts or reloading posts into account. Now what would you do on earth if you have a transport company? You don't care about politics, don't care about embargoes, you care about the bill you have to pay, you care about your company being alive or being bankrupt. Now, is that, maybe it's not political thinking, but it's social thinking and it's economic thinking. Do I have a point or not?
Yes, you are. But on the other hand, if your delivery just gets stuck and sent back to home, you will just lose all the money.
No, you won't.
So, let's say, what would you suggest? What should be done with both from the government side and from the corporate, commercial side? Let's even say if they stop the war, stop all this political stuff, and which points you would suggest to invest, or which sections, which routes?
I would say suggest invest in logistics. Reloading a cargo from one truck to the other, or from a train to a truck, or from a train to a ship, takes too much time. If you put some money into technology which can smoothly transload shipments, your transport company will earn the money you are holding invest into the logistics business 5 times. Plus your colleagues, competitors. And businesses like this, there's only one company who thinks of that, and the rest will follow. If you have a good idea of investment into transport, logistics, do it. Because you can bet your life on it that if you don't do it, your competitor will think of it.
There's also a Chinese proverb. If you want to get wealthy, build a road.
Right?
And Chinese are actually following it. and investing heavily in logistics and transport. For example, now there is a project about the railroad from China to Kyrgyzstan to Uzbekistan, and further to Middle East and to Europe. So officially it's gonna take about 5 years, but realistically about 10, 15. So is it, how much you think it's feasible, realistic to finish it faster, or how much it will, and how much it will impact Central Asian economy?
I'll give you two scenarios. Without government or EU or whatever interference, it would have been already there.
Yeah.
The EU is coming up with delegations. All international organizations, World Bank, IMF, name them, they're all coming up with delegations. They're staying in luxury hotels for weeks, sometimes months. They write reports nobody reads. And the delivery period of the infrastructure is delayed for years, if not decades. Cut them out, leave it from company to company, and the railway would have been there already, including the Bishkek-Osh rail connection. Everything can be there. Politicians should leave business to business. Otherwise, the First World War wouldn't have broken out, and in the wake of which maybe the second one wouldn't have been broken out. Leave business to business. As long as they don't break the basic humanitarian laws and the basic social laws, you should leave them alone. They are the ones that build them. Russia, first under Alexander II, first under Alexander III, and with a short disruption continued by Nicholas II. They had a minister, by origin a compatriot of mine, who ran the Ministry of Industry and Economy. It's a good combination. Separating those two brings disaster and disconnection. What he did was give Russian and foreign business the concessions to construct, to produce, as long as they paid their taxes, as they remained within social legislation, they could achieve what they want. He built, under these conditions, the railroad from Baku to Moscow, the railroad from Baku to Batumi, all kinds of interest. The Trans-Siberian, they were built in no time. They should do that again. Forget about these international lobbies. They're absolutely useless. Let the business decide. At least if you make the business decide, if the business makes a mistake, you can hold the business responsible for it. And they can pay for the damage. They took the risk, and for the damage they probably have an insurance. So simplify the system, push aside those overpaid lobbies, and in their reports like this, they are telling us what simple-minded and straightforward-minded people like you and me already know.
So the cheapest option between, not the cheapest, let's say the most effective way, considering both price, effectiveness, speed, time, and risks between Middle Corridor, Russia, and Arctic sea routes.
Under the circumstances we live in, the Russian, both Arctic and overland connections are definitely the cheapest. International, multinational connections are always more expensive. If you and I would have a transport company, we would opt for the Russian options. Thank you very much, Mr. Russian Ambassador, for your attention. It was not meant as a compliment, but as a plain fact. Right.
Let's say,
The overall message is get lost with your sanctions. They're designed by people who never set foot in Ukraine, who never set foot in Russia, who never set foot in Central Asia, but they're behind desks in Washington, in Brussels, and where else. We don't need people who can only imagine Central Asia in their dirty fantasies. Like said Bakunin, people should learn to rule themselves.